All right, tonight we're going to be doing Unit 7, Lesson 21. We're just distinguishing between multiplication and division. So we're going to talk about how you can predict the results of multiplying or dividing multiple digit or whole numbers and decimal numbers. And then we're going to solve some multiplication and some division word problems. So part of that will be deciding, is this a multiplication situation or a division situation? You need SAB page 331 to 336. Okay, so for each problem, we need to decide first, do we multiply or divide, and then solve. So I'm going to read them aloud. A certain turtle can walk 2/10 of a mile in 1 hour. How far can the turtle walk in 12 hours? How far can the turtle walk in half an hour? Well, it's multiplication, because if they can walk 2/10 of a mile for every hour, then we need to look at how far can they walk in 12 hours. So this is a multiplication situation, okay? And we're going to take 12 and multiply that by 2/10. And then we're going to take 5/10 and multiply that by 2/10. Okay, well, 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 1, 2. And then decimal place over 1. So 2 4/10 miles in 12 hours. And then 5 times 2 is 10. Decimal goes over 2 places. So 1/10 of a mile in half an hour, okay, which is half of 2/10. Gus runs 3 6/10 miles during running practice. He takes a sip of water every 9/10 of a mile that he runs. How many sips does Gus take? Well, so you need to know how many 9/10 are in 3 6/10, so it's division. So we're going to divide. And we're going to do 3 6/10 divided by 9/10. And you know, when you have the decimal out there, you're going to move it over a place value. And you're going to take this decimal and you're going to move it over a place value. So now all we're looking at is taking 36 and dividing that by 9. So 36 divided by 9 is 4, which is exactly 36. So I'm done. So he's going to take 4 sips. Okay. Every year, about 135 of the cows on Dixie's dairy farm have calves. This year, only 6/10 as many cows had calves. How many cows had calves? Okay, well, if you divide a whole number by a fraction, you're going to get or a decimal, you're going to get a larger number. We don't want a larger number. We're going to multiply. 135 multiplied by 6/10. Okay. Okay, so 6 times 5 is 30. Carry my 3. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3, 21. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Okay, and then we're going to go back and put our decimal in. One place over. So 81 cows had calves this year. Okay. A box of oatmeal holds 1.5 pounds. Each bowl of oatmeal holds 0.08 of a pound. How many bowls of oatmeal can you get from a box? So if you think about this one, you're taking the whole box and you're dividing it up into bowls. Well, if you split up a box into bowls, it's division. So 1 2/10 divided by 0.08. Well, we got to do that decimal moving thing. We're going to move it 2 place values outside the division house. So we got to move it 2 place values inside the division house. So now what I'm really looking at is 120 divided by 8. Okay, well, 8 won't go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0 to hold my place. 8 into 12, 1 time. 8 minus 12 is 4. Bring down my 0 from up above. Okay, 8 into 40, 5 times. So how many bowls can you get from one box of oatmeal? 15 bowls. Okay, one more. A rectangular patio has an area of 131 and 52 hundredths square meters. The width of the patio is 96, 9 and 6/10 meters. What's the length? Okay, well, if I have area and I can use the formula, area equals length times width, right? So if I'm using that, I know the area and I know the width, but I don't know the length. So I have to use inverse operation then. I have to take 131 and 52 hundredths and divide that by 9 and 6/10. So I'm going to move my decimal over one spot, so it's 96 into 1,315 and 2/10. Why don't you guys go ahead and pause the video and divide that one out. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you found again that this was division. I forgot to write that on the one above. And you should have found that it's going to be 13 and 7/10 of a meter. The cool thing about things like this is you could actually double check your work if you weren't sure. You could do 13 and 7/10 and multiply that by 9 and 6/10, and you should get 131. Okay, so easy way to check your division or multiplication is using inverse operation. All right, let's go on. In the equations below, A and B are whole numbers greater than 1. D is a digit, so that it's a decimal number less than 1. We're going to answer each question. So if B times A equals C, is C greater or less than A, and why? And I'm going to switch to typing here. Hopefully this will work out really well for you guys to read my typing. Okay, well, it's going to be larger. Okay, C is greater. Because a whole number times a whole number, right, equals a product larger than either factor, right? That just makes sense. Whole number times a whole number, you're going to end up with a larger factor, okay? So I can get that to move up for you guys so it's not on that blue line. Okay, so then let's look at the next one. If we multiply a decimal times a whole number, is the whole number going to be larger or smaller? Again, this time we're going to say it's going to be smaller because a decimal times a whole number is like finding a part of a whole. Okay? So hopefully that kind of makes sense to you as well. All right, next up, if A divided by B equals C, is C greater than or less than A? Well, it's going to be less than, so we're going to have another smaller situation. Okay, less than, because a whole number divided by a whole number, oops, about whole, equals a quotient smaller than the dividend. Okay, so in other words, when you take a whole number and you divide it up, right, it's like chopping up a whole number into parts. So it's going to be smaller. You're going to end up with a smaller piece. Last one, if a whole number is divided by a decimal, am I going to end up with a smaller or larger number? Oops, let me get my thing here. Okay, well, you should end up with a larger number. because we're finding how many parts smaller than 1 are in A. Okay, so in other words, how many bits and pieces are there in that A? So if A is a whole number, well, how many pieces are there within A? Lots of pieces. Okay, so then let's look at this next question, which is greater, 42 times 356 or 42 divided by, or 356 divided by 42? Well, right off the bat, you should see multiplication as the one that's larger. So this one's going to be larger. Why? Is because when multiplying, you're finding the 42 groups of 356. And in dividing, you're breaking 356 into 42 separate groups. So you could actually work that out and see that. Okay, let's go on. Which is greater? So I'm just going to run through these and quick talk about how we know. Dividing would be greater because when we divide based on our rule from before, a whole number by a portion, you're going to get a larger number. Which is greater, division or dividing whole number by whole number, or dividing a whole number by a portion, a part? Dividing a whole number by a part, right? There's going to be a lot more little bitty parts in 832 than there are whole 67s, okay? Which is greater on this one, 738 times 66 or 738 times 66 hundredths. Well, you should be saying this one because whole number times whole number is going to be larger. What I expect to see is, I'm okay with you guys circling these, but I actually want these blanks filled in. So you need to fill in these answers. Go back and use that previous page if you need to help you out where I typed the answers, okay? If you need to rewind and watch that again. Farmer O, I'm going to call him O because I'm not really sure, Ortenzaga, I don't know, has 124 6/10 acres of land. Farmer Reuben has 8/10 times as much. Does Farmer Reuben have more or less than? Well, less, because it's a portion of it, right? He doesn't have even as much. If he had the same amount, it would be 1, has 1 time as much, right? If he had more, it would be 2 or more than that. How much does he have? To solve that, you would do 124 6/10 and multiply that by 8/10. Again, ignore the decimals and then you can go back and put them in. If you want to pause the video and take care of that, that would be great, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. You should have shown your work and found it to be 99 68 acres. Okay. Mi Young has 48 meters of crepe paper. She'll cut into strips that are 6/10 of a meter long. Will she get more or fewer than 48? Well, more, because you're cutting up the meters, right, into a portion, not a full meter. How many will she get? So 48, multiply that by 6/10. And again, if you would like to pause the video and then come back and check. All right, 80 strips. Okay, let's go forward. Roberto can lift 115 pounds. His friend Vance can lift 9/10 of that. Is that more or less? Less, right? Because it's a fraction of what he can lift, right? This is a percentage of what he can lift, not the whole thing. How many pounds can he lift? 115, multiply that by 9/10. Okay? Come back and check it once you've done that. Okay, you should have found that he can lift 103.5 pounds. The Daisy Cafe served 18 liters of hot cocoa today. Each serving was in a cup that held 2/10 of a liter. Did they serve more or fewer than 18 cups? Well, more, because they didn't put a full liter in each cup. They put 2/10 of a liter. So now we're going to take 18 and multiply it by 2/10. Okay? Pause video and come back. 18 times 2, 900. Add the decimal back in. 90 cups. That's a lot of hot cocoa. That would give every kid in 5th grade this year 1 cup. Okay, so going on. I want you to choose 2 of the multiplication problems on this page and 2 of the division problems on this page to solve and come back and talk about with your group tomorrow. So choose 2 of each, multiplication and 2 division, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and go forward. We're not going to worry about this top portion. I guess you could have used those to choose. But let's go on to these story problems, okay? The Fox Theater has 19 rows of seats with 26 seats in each row. There are 498 people waiting to see the movie. How many people can get in? So you're going to do 26, multiply that by 19, okay? Find out how much that is, and then tell me how many people have to wait until the next movie. Pause video and then come back. All right, you should have found that the theater actually only holds 494, and it would be a packed house. Okay, and that means that 4 people are out of luck. They don't get to watch the movie tonight or in this showing. Okay, they'll have to wait till the next showing. Let's go into the next one. Polly bought 12 beach balls for her beach party. She spent $23.64. How much did she spend on all? So we're going to take 23 and 64 cents and we're going to divide that by 12. Okay. 12 into 23 only goes once. Subtract out, you get 11. Bring that 6 down. I'm going to put my decimal up. 12 into 116. Well, if I did it any more than 9 times, it probably wouldn't work. So 12 times 9, okay, 12 times 9 gets me 108. Subtract out. 116 minus 108 is 8. Bring down my 4. Okay, and then 84 divided by 12 is 7. Okay, so going to each cost $1.97. Okay, last one we're going to do is this question 43. All of the 245 fifth graders at Breezy Point School are going on a trip to the aquarium. Each van can carry 16 students. How many vans will be needed? So you're going to take 245. This is a division problem. You're going to divide those kids up, 16, okay? I want you to pause it. I want you to think about if there's a remainder, what would you need to do? Okay, welcome back. 245 divided by 16 leaves me with 15 and 31 hundredths. Well, if you think about this, can you have a remainder with people? Can you cut people in parts? No. So you have to bump your answer up and you're going to need 16 vans. Okay, we're going to stop here for today and I will see you in class tomorrow.